Hi everyone, Lauren here from the Gardener Center. I am currently the florist and I also do the container design here at the store. And since it is the holiday season, we're all done with Thanksgiving and ready to just go full throttle into the holidays. It is time to start thinking about our outdoor decor. So I just wanted to show you two options for the winter planters. One of them is a really simple, like we do all the legwork for you. You can actually just order it through the floral department and either get it delivered or picked up, and you just drop them into your planters. The only preparation you have to do for this one would be to clear out your planters. If you had any fall plants in there, you're going to clear those out, but then you also want to either take the soil out completely or take out enough soil so that there's room for you to drop the buckets in. And we actually have this really cool, if you have completely empty planters, this really cool little thing here called the Upsadaisy that we sell at the store. They're great because they'll fit right into the planters and they'll kind of like wedge in there so that there's a platform for the drop-ins to sit on. People also use them for dropping plants and keeping them in their containers. And it's great for people that do ferns over the summer and things like that. So it's a really cool product that we have here. And once you have that all set, you would order the drop-in. This is the premium one, which is the larger one, and you just drop it right in here. It sits really nicely in there. And then the great thing about these is we make them in floral foam in the florist, and we soak them for you. So the stems go in and they get hydrated, and then in the cool weather, and then when we get freezes, they just preserve the greens in there. So as long as the foam doesn't dry out, which most likely it won't if you at least make sure, or if it's getting rained on or anything, and then they'll kind of last all the way through March. It's really as simple as that. So we have 3 sizes. You could order those online or you can come out to the store. We have a lot of them available outside, and then also you could order through the florist. So that's those ones. Those ones are really simple. And then the other option is more of like the DIY option, which is fun because although these are beautiful and they're really like convenient, they don't have as many options to customize. And if you do it yourself, you can customize it however you want, which is really, really awesome. So I'm just going to do like a step-by-step. This is not the way you would have to do it. This is kind of the way I've built a lot of my planters, but again, it's customizable. But this might kind of give you some little tips and, design tips to get you started. So I really like the white pine tips because they just add, I start to shape my planters that way, and they add like a nice different texture as opposed to some of the other wintergreens. So I'm going to make this front facing. This one is front facing too. Some people do opt to have them viewed all the way around, but most people are just going to be putting them in front of their door or like just somewhere where they're more full on front facing. So that's going to be more of the norm, not the exception to the rule. So I'm going to make them front facing. So I'm just kind of starting out by just building my shape. I like to have some things that are going to be like dripping down. Some other pieces that are going to be kind of back here, adding a little more to the shape. And I don't know about you guys, but I love white pine just like in general. I love the trees because I like to go hiking a lot, and the white pines are they smell so good and they make me happy when I see them. And they're a native tree, so I really like them. They're really pretty and they smell awesome. I always forget this time of year how good everything smells until I start working with all the wintergreens, and it's just like the nicest thing. All right, so after we get a few of these kind of more in the middle and to give it a little more height, it's very windy today. It actually feels like winter. It's not too cold, but it feels really good. It feels a little chilly. All right, so, but I need to get used to it because I'm going to be outside for the next couple of weeks doing all of your planters. So it's a nice little segue back into it. All right, so the next green I'm using is the Port Orford cedar. And the Port Orford is awesome. It's really versatile. It sometimes has more drippy pieces. A lot of times it has really upright, sometimes very fatty pieces, so you could really build the shape with that as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look for a couple of the really upright ones so I can really show you how to get a basis for the shape and height. So like that's just one branch right there, giving you all that awesome wispiness and height. And what you can do with pieces like this too, you see it has a lot of like drippy pieces to it. You can just go ahead and cut the bigger pieces off, because they're just going to droop down in the planter anyway. So you could actually use those to be some of your little dangly guys here. And that just, you know, and it's nice to have enough drooping so that you have more of a presentation and you're not seeing the front of the pot so much. You're kind of covering it up a little bit. So I'm going to keep going with the Port Orford. I really rely on the Port Orford a lot for like not only shaping, but giving a lot of the like mass of the actual planter. Because usually they just have a lot of body to the stems themselves. So it kind of helps to give you that. All right. And this is a very droopy bunch. So that's going to give me a lot of wispiness on the sides. So like I was saying, there's always a lot of like versatility and variability in the Port Orford. So sometimes it's very droopy like that, and sometimes you have a lot more solid pieces. So because this one was kind of droopy and I don't have as much tall pieces like that, I actually grabbed I have a couple here. It's going to give us a little more. But I also grabbed the Leland Cypress, which is over here. And this one is nice. Usually the stems are not quite as wide and fatty as the Port Orford, but they have a really nice shape to them. And I also like to use those to give some height and to give some shape. Like this guy is like a nice big meaty piece. So we'll put that in the back. And then you're just gonna, as you're building these, you just kind of eyeball and kind of get a feel for the overall composition and where you might want to fill in some spots here. So if you see little holes, you just kind of make that fill in a little bit. All right, so now that we have a lot of the bulk and the shape of this made up, I like to add in, well, I have the Leland in there, but I also like to add in the California Sapphire. And the California Sapphire is awesome because it has a little bit more of a blue tone to it as opposed to the other ones. That allows you to, it just gives you a nice contrast to all the green. It has a little bit of a blue tone to it. And then the texture of it is just really different than a lot of the other greens. So it's just a nice little like pop of something different. And it has a really pretty shape to it. So it'll also help you with that overall shape and kind of like, almost kind of like a whimsical movement to the planters. So once we're almost done with doing the Carolina, the last little piece that I usually add at the end, because I like to, like I was saying about the Port Orford and some of the other bunches like the white pine tips that come in that you can kind of create that little bit of a droopiness with. I like at the end to fully kind of fill them in and make sure that we have a lot of like nice spilling greenery in front with the incense cedar. So the incense cedar has these really pretty little like pollen berries almost on the end of them. And they also usually have a lot of weight to them and a little bit of droopiness. So they're just really pretty. And they make a nice presentation in that way. So I'm just going to fill in along the sides here. Just going to check the front real quick and make sure it's looking all even. And I'll cut smaller pieces to it, but then if there's a nice big branch here that's going to spill nicely, I'll just kind of tuck that in here. And then you can see it still has that nice shape to it. And I'm just gonna move this beautiful piece out of the way for a second while I finish this up. Okay. So once we have all the greens looking in there, and it looks pretty even just like that. But this is where we could really customize it and really make it interesting. You could either make it really holiday-like a lot of people like more of the reds and the berries and that kind of traditional thing. I'm going to show you one that's a little more of like a wintry neutral because I'm noticing a lot of people are asking for that this year. So just like with this one, I'm going to put some of this pretty magnolia greens that we have in here. And I like to try to showcase the pretty velvety brown underside of it when I can. Another little nice one in here. All right, and then I'm just going to do some of this white painted birch, which we also have available outside in the nursery. And if we don't have it outside, you can come ask for it in the florist and we will hook you up with some of that. But it's always nice to have the sticks in here for a little bit of contrast. I personally like the white ones a lot because they do pop a lot more against the green. We also have like red twig dogwood and natural birch that's not painted like this. So either or, whatever you prefer. So to further that kind of wintry look, we have these really pretty, it's actually a faux leaf, but it looks very realistic and it just has a nice like wispy quality to it. Wintry, so we'll put that in there. And we have these beautiful magnolia star pods that we always try to get as many as we can each year. They just seem to be a really hot item. I do have a few that I'm going to be able to use in planters, but it's such a striking design element, and it's chunky, so it fills up a nice space in the planters. And they could either be wired in, if they're short on stems, you could wire them in with a stick to kind of secure them. This one has a little bit long of a stem, so I can kind of secure it in here, just tucked into the greenery. And it'll stay there. And this is just an example of a really simple, more wintry looking planter for the season. You could always add or make it less, more simple if you prefer. But we're just going to finish it off with some pine cones because everybody loves pine cones. Okay. All right, and there you have it. That is our completed DIY look for the holidays. Like I said, it's fun because it's super customizable and you don't have to use these greens. We have a lot of other stuff. We have German boxwood and we have holly and all other kinds of things that you could play with outside in the nursery. And then our third option that I didn't tell you about in the beginning because that's surprise is me. If you wanted to forego both of these and have something that's more customizable but you don't want to do it yourself, there is the option of going through the container design department and having me come out to your house and do it. So please reach out. You can give us a call at the store or you could email me. All that information is on our website. So yeah, feel free to give us a call and come get your supplies to make your own or come get a drop-in from us. Thank you.